I had like a pound of weed all broken down into dimes, quarters, eighths, halves, ounces, 3 scales, maybe almost $1,000 on me, a bunch of Xanax bars. I was there selling. And somebody called the cops and said I was like rolling up a blunt in a car. They pulled up. I had literally everything in possession that would show that it was intent to distribute. So they charged me with possession with intent to distribute. I took a plea, and I think they gave me a year. They let me out on bond, and on good terms. I could not do the year if I would have cooperated. I didn't cooperate. I ended up going away at 18 for like 6 months.
This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan. And this episode is brought to you by Sober Strong Apparel. Sober Strong Apparel isn't just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. Heavyweight tees, hoodies, and gear for the ones who draw a hard line. Clean, sober, no compromise. We rep sobriety like a badge of honor. And every piece you throw on says you're a part of the crew that doesn't back down. Every order fuels recovery with 10% donated to treatment facilities because we don't just talk about it, we stand on it. And use the code ROCKBOTTOM at checkout for 10% off. Really love what this company represents. It's huge on recovery. Really love the apparel itself. It looks amazing. So check it out, soberstrongapparel.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy this episode.
All right, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan. I'm here with Kevin Clark today. Kevin, how you doing?
Good, man. Good way. Good Saturday.
Awesome. So Rock Bottom with Ryan is a show about recovery, but we're going to discuss a few different topics today. Was going to have Kevin kind of just go through his background and his childhood and then go over incarceration and go over what he's doing now in the fitness world and how he's keeping a positive mindset in recovery. And we'll kind of start, if you can kind of tell us what your sober date is and what your drug of choice was, and kind of go from there and maybe go into your childhood.
Yeah, so my sober date was, to be honest, I call it about November 17th because that's the day that pops in my head. I was incarcerated and I broke my arm the second week in November. And I remember I'm not 100% sure that it was November 17th. I know it was either the 16th, 17th, 18th in that week because I go off of when I broke my humerus bone, incarcerated, in the day that I turned down the prescription medication that the doctor in there was giving me. The day I told him, I don't want it anymore, you can keep it. I'll stick with the ibuprofen. Because that was the final day that I used any substance, whether it was alcohol, weed, drugs. So that was my sobriety date. And that was 2017. I had a Percocet addiction, opioid addiction. I mean, you name it. I was addicted to all substances, but I went through phases, of course, early in life. I mean, at different phases. I went through the Xanax phase. Alcohol was always there. Weed was always there. But opioids, nothing quite got a hold of me like painkillers did. Leading up to my incarceration, that was my drug of choice. Percocets, things in that nature. And then being incarcerated, still doing them while incarcerated, not knowing how long I was going to be in there. We're talking in 2017, 2018, not knowing how long I was going to be in there, awaiting sentencing, awaiting trial, and still lost. So still basically saying F it while I was in there. Nothing changing, still getting drunk in there, doing, gambling every day. And it wasn't until I broke my arm and I was in the worst state that I'd ever been in. I broke my right humerus bone. I couldn't play basketball, couldn't work out, couldn't do anything with my dominant hand. And I gained 50 pounds. I'm up to 270. Even in my worst, unhealthiest stages, I still stood around 220, 230. I was never obese, just unhealthy. But I gained 50 pounds, got up to 270, and I'm just miserable. I don't know when I'm getting out. My lawyer's telling me 7 years, no less than 7 years. I'm 25 years old, 24, 25 years old, and it wasn't a game anymore. This wasn't my first time being incarcerated. I'd already done a couple years incarcerated from 18 to 21 throughout my juvenile. This wasn't, I was now, 25 years old. And now that saying where, oh, I got plenty of time, I got time, I was at that time, like where
Yeah.
there's not much more time I can waste. The first time in jail at 18, 19, cool. Like, I'm a kid, get out at 21 I still got a lot of life. Then the second go around, it was like, hold up now. They're telling me damn near, double digit numbers now. I'm talking about getting out in my mid 30s.
Yeah.
I don't have any life skills. I don't have a family. Like what is my purpose of my existence right now, right? So that's kind of where I was at, and everything hit me like a ton of bricks at the same time. I was saving up my painkillers, gambling with a broken right arm, sitting in jail, looking around, and I started getting this. I don't know what made me get this bad high, right? So I'm saving up my painkillers that they're giving me throughout the day for my arm, and I'm gambling at night, and I have a bad high. Like it didn't hit me right.
Yeah.
Addicts know what that's like. And I'm gambling and I'm losing my money, and I'm like, this can't be life. Like this can't be my life right now. And I remember the next day they called me down to the nurse's or the doctor's office to refill my generic painkiller prescription in there that I was abusing. And I said, you can keep it. I don't even want it.
That's a
And
huge decision. Wow.
that was the day I got sober. And I didn't drink after that. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't do anything in jail. I was done. And yeah, I made that decision right then and there. And I toughed the rest of my incarceration out, which I had like another 2 years to go. And I toughed it out and hit the books, hit the weights, focused, and told myself I was going to try something new this time. I got out when I was 27 and I never looked back.
Wow. That's incredible. What can you describe? Well, I guess I'll ask you after. Kind of give me like a little overview of what it was like growing up and what happened when you were kind of using for the first time and how that started.
So I'm definitely a black sheep in my family. Nobody's family is completely perfect, of course, but I don't come from a family of a criminal background I mean, I have had a little alcoholism in my family, a little bit. A lot of my family, my dad's a football coach. So I've had athletic men and my uncles played college football. Nobody was at nowhere near the level that I was at. So how I ended up the way I ended up, I'd have to really dig deep. And I've tried to dig deep, and I got influenced early on by my surroundings, and that in an environment that I chose to be in. Was never forced into, a terrible area. I just chose select friends. I was high wired. I definitely think I had definitely forms that of doctors, if you want to label yourself as somebody with bipolar ADHD, I had all that stuff. I was different for sure in a lot of different ways mentally. And I chose different things that were gave me adrenaline. It was sports early on. I was always in the neighborhood as a kid organizing things. It led into vandalizing, things that gave me a rush, when just normal manhunt football didn't do it. I wanted to sneak out at night.
Kind of like
Vandalize.
adrenaline junkie type thing.
Yeah, I needed it. I was high energy, high wired, and I needed to be stimulated in a lot of ways. So, and every year it just progressed, you know what I mean? So like starting with vandalism and at 12 years old, stealing money, stealing a lot of stealing, getting kicked out of amusement parks for stealing, fighting, all those things. And then it just progressed as I got older and got into gangs and more fighting and then drugs and alcohol and then selling drugs and every type of criminal, you know, activity you can think of. I was starting to get more and more involved, and it only got worse as I got older. So that's kind of how it started. I was good at sports early on. If I would have stuck with that path, good things could have happened. And then I chose the streets, started getting kicked off of all the teams, kicked out of school. Now I'm 33 years old. Fitness circled back around like it was supposed to all along. So
Yeah. Were you working out much in say, so you started off at age 12? When was your first stint in like juvie and stuff, and like how did you?
by 15 years old, my family couldn't control me anymore, so they like filed this thing called a CHINS petition, which is like child in need of services, child in need of supervision. So they were like, they put me in the group homes, but I was so bad I would run from the group homes. They'd put me in the juvenile where you can't run from it. They'd let me out, put me back in the group homes. I'd run again. I would still try to go to school in the meantime. Got caught with a knife in school. They kicked me out of school. Then that means I had that knife in the group home. They kicked me out of the group home. No more group homes. They wouldn't let me back in. Then juvenile. And then they sent me to Richmond to like a behavioral center. So that was all starting at age 15. I think by the end, so that lasted about a year and a half. And then like age 16 going into 17, my parents were like, all right, this isn't going to work. He's just getting introduced to the wrong crowds in these facilities. He's obviously not going to stay in these like boys' homes because I haven't actually caught a felony case yet. So they couldn't just keep me in like a juvenile prison. They had to let me out and put me back in these boys' facilities, but I wouldn't cooperate with them. So that was the issue. So eventually my parents were like, we just got to take him back home and whatever happens, happens. So they took me back home, and that's when I just completely abused. Like I was like, well, what more? Nobody can do anything to me. What are you going to do? Put me in like, you can't. So that's when my criminal thing increased. And then 16, 17, I got kicked out of high school again. I was still playing football for the school, getting all failing grades, but still showing up to school, playing football. And then I think going into my senior year, I got kicked out of school for the remainder of the year for something. And then I ended up going to jail. I did catch my first felony case immediately after I turned 18. So
Can
I
I
didn't
ask
actually,
what you did? What kind of
yeah,
stuff you were doing to break the law, or was it drug related charges? Or
selling drugs, robbing, um, legal ways to make money. That was my things. Um, yeah.
I can relate to that.
And yeah, yeah. So I got at a week after I turned 18, I got caught on elementary school. There was like an elementary school close to my house that everybody played basketball at, hung out at. And I had like a pound of weed all broken down into dimes, quarters, eighths, halves, ounces, 3 scales, maybe almost $1,000 on me, a bunch of Xanax bars. Like I was there selling. Somebody called the cops and said I was like rolling up a blunt in a car. They pulled up. I had literally everything in possession that would show that it was intent to distribute. So they charged me with possession with intent to distribute. I took a plea, and I think they gave me a year. They let me out on bond and on good terms. I could not do the year if I would have cooperated. I didn't cooperate. I ended up going away at 18 for like 6 months. So that was the rest of my senior year in high school. I got out the whole first half of my senior year in high school. That summer I was in jail. Somehow I still graduated high school. The teachers liked me, I guess, and they were bringing me schoolwork up to this jail, and it allowed me to actually get my high school diploma. Not that I've ever really needed it, but I can still say I got my high school diploma. And that's when things got even worse when I got out of jail that time. So,
How'd that go? If you don't mind
I
talking
mean,
about.
I just got smarter, stupider, but criminally smarter, and things just progressed. Like the level just intensified.
Do you feel like being incarcerated increased your knowledge of like how to?
Maybe it just increased me not wanting to get caught as much, but just maturity as I got older allowed me to not be as reckless. Like at 16 years old, when you're like, "Fuck you, camera," in
Yeah,
the camera's face, but at 19, I'm not necessarily wanting to be on camera anymore. Like you know what I mean? I'm putting a mask on when I rob somebody now. So things like that. Um, can you hear me good, or is this? I got the dryer running. Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm meeting more people, older people. Was in a trap house in a drug dealer's house. Halloween weekend, 2010. When I was 18, 2010, somebody tried to rob the house we were in. I got shot. I got shot in my lower back for trying to punch one of the guys with the gun. The doctors told me it was like a quarter inch from my spinal cord, which would have paralyzed me from the waist down. So there's just so many incidents that could have ruined my life. right? As a kid, like completely changed the trajectory of everything. Not getting caught for major things, right? Like there's so many different things that later on down the road, sitting, being incarcerated, sitting there with all the time in the world to think about my past, how grateful I am to not be doing 10, 20 years or be dead. And that was something that was a major factor in me changing my life and knowing that I need to capitalize on this last chance that I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, after the 6 months, I ended up going back again to jail. This time for 2 years for burglaries. Yeah, nighttime burglaries, home invasions, breaking and enterings, grand larcenies, and did a couple years for that. Got out, only got smarter and tried to do things the right way a little bit, getting a job, try to show some legit paperwork, try to follow the rules of probation by not peeing dirty and things like that, but still continuing a criminal enterprise on the side, of course.
It was all
Eventually, my
bound to
drug,
just catch up with you.
yeah, yeah. So eventually, just compounding it. You're never just not gonna get caught. Like you do something long enough, eventually something's gonna happen. You don't just go, especially at the level I was at, especially with all the different things I was dealing mixed in with, like you're not gonna get away with it for long. You know what I mean? A couple
Yeah.
years, you had a good run, but
Yeah.
it's coming to an end, and it came to an end again. And this time I went back for a shooting. This time a shooting in a Walmart parking lot, and everything's public record. You can anything I'm saying, you can look up and like just search my name, Kevin William Clark, and see all my entire rap sheet. So the second time going around, this time I went to prison, did 2.5 years, and I was sick of it, bro. I was fed up. I couldn't do it anymore, and
What was
I
your experience like in prison, which made you start to realize, hey, I don't want to come back here. I really need to turn my life around. Like, what was life like? Were you in the early days incarcerated? Were you like kind of, I don't know, felt like right at home, like meeting people that were like minded? And then it just evolved into the longer you were spending time there, the more you like got exhausted. And what was life like in
exactly.
there?
The first time I said I was 18, 19, 20, I'm like, oh, this shit, fuck, whatever, man. Like, I'm having fun in here, gambling, running around like a kid, doing whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't fun. I didn't like it, but I wasn't mature enough to think about the future. I thought I was still young, whatever. That was all I enjoyed doing. Also, that was another thing that I used to think, like, I don't like doing anything else but breaking the rules. Like, what else would I want to do with my life that would give me fulfillment? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? All I wanted to do is feel danger and mischief and trouble. Like I wanted that. That was fun to me, exciting. Like I said, I've always been that. I needed that adrenaline, that fix. And doing things the wrong way was a fix for me.
Hmm.
And I didn't want that fix anymore. It hit a point where I was like, yo, this fix is not. It's not it. It's not it, bro. Like, did my experience in prison? I was at a place at some high level places. So here in Virginia, it's a place called Greensville Penitentiary, and it was just the feeling. There's more freedom in prison than there is in jail. So one would be like, hell yeah, if prison was sweet. Oh, it was way better. But it's cold. The people that you're around, it's the people around you. It's a cold, a dark place. These are people, most of them, a lot of them that are not getting out for a long time, never getting out,
Well, they got nothing to lose.
nothing to lose. Nobody's your friend. You are worthless in there, bro. Your family forgets, people forget about you. You're nothing anymore to the outside, especially if you're doing a long time. I mean, those phone calls, bro, it's not the same. I mean, you can't keep a bond with your friends and family for very long when you're doing serious time. And I knew that I fired my lawyer that told me no less than 7 years. And I forgot to mention that he got me the good deal for 2.5. And, I got with a new one. And, I knew I was blessed with my criminal background. Cause at this point I'm a career criminal, and with my background, man, I should still be in there now. And I got out in 2019. Like I'm like blessed to have gotten away. Whether it was because some people might say the color of my skin, some people might say I had a lot of references and family supporting me and friends supporting me, and people liked me. maybe I spoke well in court, whatever the reason may be that the judge looked out for me. He really looked out, but he told me, he said, "Mr. Clark, if I see you again, I don't care if it's for a dirty urine, you're going back to prison." And prison isn't just short time. Prison is years.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing that. He said, "You're going to prison as much as if I see you again for anything." And I was like, yeah, I don't just do things a little bit. So he wouldn't see me again. And the only way he would see me again is if it was for something major. Like, I'm usually smart enough to not just fail a drug test. I would be caught doing something big because I don't know how to just do things like, I wouldn't, me being in fitness and being in a gym and personal trainer, but also doing a little bit of dibbling dabbling on the side would not ever be my thing. It's got to be one or the other. I'm
Yeah.
either fully committed to the streets or I'm fully committed to health and wellness. It's one or the other. So that's when in there I made the decision. I said, I'm going to try the opposite this time and see what could happen. So that's one thing I knew about myself, though. I knew that drugs and alcohol, like I said, sitting in that cell, thinking back and going, man, almost everything in my life bad that's happened under the influence. Drugs and alcohol was my foundation. Like, no matter how much of a good drug dealer criminal I was, with the money I made, I always abused drugs and alcohol. I could be making more money, but I'm buying more Percocet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was
So you never
not.
have anything to show for it, technically.
Or what? Yeah, I mean, I was just always, I was always wild, even as a high level. I never was, smart where I could invest into businesses and not, and stay sober and not get high off my own supply. I wasn't like that. I was
Damn.
turned up to the mat. I was
I was the
still,
same. Whenever I had illegal businesses going on, I was like, oh, I brought in so much money, but like it went away as quickly as it did because I was still doing drugs. I always had to have a fancy car, always had to have a nice apartment, but like I never had anything to like go towards my future. It's just how we think when we're like, intoxicated or going through addiction. Our priorities are totally off.
yeah, yeah.
But
My friends told me, like, leading up to it, I remember one time I was carrying around 5 pounds. I had a duffel bag. I remember I had 5 pounds of weed in a duffel bag in a suitcase. It's like 2015, 2016. And I'm walking through broad daylight, drinking a beer in the parking lot. Like, I'm carrying 5 pounds of weed. And I don't know what that's equivalent to nowadays. I know weed's like legal and stuff, but back then, 2015, that was like a big deal. Like, feds
yeah,
might pick that up.
yeah.
Each pound is worth 3,000 or so. So I'm carrying 15 grand worth of marijuana and I'm drinking a beer in broad daylight. Like,
Thinking you
my
can get
boys
away with
looked at me
anything.
like, yeah, my boy's like, dude, you're a fucking ticking time bomb ready to blow at any second. I'm like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
So how's your when you were incarcerated, did you learn just things like you had to stay vigilant? Was it like kind of obviously I I've been to jail quite a few times, but never prison. So is it like something that taught you vigilance, how to be cautious of people, things like that? I mean, what was it? Was it a pretty
Yeah.
scary
Yeah.
atmosphere? I mean, you're a pretty big guy. I assume you can hold
Yeah.
your
I
own,
didn't
but
have, it's not like what people think. People left me. I mean, I was Greensville. There's very few white people. So it was all black gang members. So being that, if you're not doing stupid shit and you're not like a punk, if you're not a punk, you don't like let people take your shit. If you let somebody take your shit, then you're screwed. Then they're gonna keep doing it. If you show that you're not a punk, but you're not necessarily tough either, if you don't walk around like you're tough, but you're not punk, you have a balance as far as that. You're not gambling all the time. I stopped gambling when I went to prison. I gambled like for the first few months without was in prison, and then I was like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. These dudes have been doing this a long time, and they know how to trick you out your money. So that was
try
another
to
reason
hustle you.
yeah, they're good at it. They're good at it. And I was like, I'm not, and I know I have a short temper too. So I'm not just gonna let somebody like cheat me out on money and shit like that. So I'm like, if I want to go home on time, I have to cut. I'm not gonna play basketball. I'm not gonna gamble anymore. I'm gonna stay to myself. And I had zero problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
that's good.
outnumbered. I didn't have much say in anything. I mean, I got to ask the gang members to use the phone. I mean, that's just the way it goes, especially when there's 4 white people to every 100. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? You just
can
got
only
to kind
imagine.
of, yeah, but don't let anybody play you in there and just don't act like you're better than anybody. And it's not like what people say. And I'm too big to get actually like,
Yeah,
like,
somebody's not gonna just walk up to you and be like, "All right, I'm gonna punk this guy." You know, they're probably
yeah,
gonna.
not really. Nah.
Yeah,
So I didn't have any problems as far as that. That wasn't my issue as far as like not wanting to go back there. I was just like, bro, I don't want to be around these dudes anymore. And I miss women. I miss my family. I
hmm
miss genuine people. I want to show people that I can actually like leave this earth making my mark. I want to do something good for this world and not be a piece of shit for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like I want to contribute. It's my time to do my part. That's kind of what my mindset was.
yeah. You mentioned kind of how because I like talking about relationships sometimes on here. You don't have to go into specifics, but I saw one of your videos talked about like uh you know how you made mistakes as far as women went back in the day because you were in the process of becoming a man. Can you kind of it was a video kind of far back, but if you kind of describe like what you were like then as far as handling relationships and like what you learned and how you're doing now, like 7 years sober, like as far as how you.
Women go, women are they're not just a toy. They're not just an object of pleasure. You have to go about it the right way. If you're single and that's your goal, don't lie. You have to be straightforward and you have to do good things, bro. Like if you get recognized really quick in the community when you're a piece of shit to women. It
Yeah,
goes around really quick. And they're humans, they're emotional creatures and they're just not to just be played with. And women have a lot of power. It was just not a it's not a game like maybe I once thought it was.
same
Like
here.
kind of do what I want.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
and just hope they still keep chasing you or something, even though you just don't treat them with the respect that they deserve, and you just kind of, you know, do your own thing and just kind of hope that they're gonna still be there, you know. And that was my
Yeah.
false thinking back in the day. Like I saw another video that you had, which I was really struck me because I wanted to work on how I went about relationships and dating, and it was the one where you're getting ready for a date and you're like, you know, I already got it booked, be there at 7, that kind of thing, like you're getting your watch on and all that. And I'm like, and then I looked at some of the comments, you know, and like girls are just kind of like, do those guys exist now, you know? And it's just
Yeah.
kind of like it's cool to see that you went from where you were 10 years ago to like how now you just have that utmost respect and want to be the best guy.
No matter what, I don't care if a man wants to be a player, sure, but don't make women feel unappreciated. You know what I mean? If you want to play around, whatever, but be as talks, but make them they have to know that they're special because they are. The women are special creatures, so you got to make them feel appreciated, So do your part as a man. It's a man's job to make a woman feel appreciated because they need to know that they are. And if you don't appreciate a woman, then don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. It's not going to end well. That's another thing I've learned. And the older we get, the more if I care about respect for myself from others, I'm not going to damage those relationships with women.
So you're taking what you learned in your childhood and spending time incarcerated and all that. You're taking how are you channeling that into what you're doing today? Like, sounds like you're staying busy. You made that decision to go from, you know, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not getting in trouble anymore. I don't want to risk going back to prison. I'm going to listen to what the judge said and I don't want to take Percocets anymore. So all those decisions led to you chose the other route, which is taking care of yourself. You're in the gym, you're a trainer, you're sober. And so, like, what is your life like now on a 24-hour basis?
At this point, man, like I said, I want to do my part while I'm here. I don't know necessarily what it's going to mean at the very end, but right now I enjoy it. I I I know I inspire people. I know I do help people with my in-person training programs because I'm not just an online influencer. I actually do this, in person too. I have a big community with 200 almost 200 clients.
What do you do in person besides like training wise, or is it?
Yeah, so I have a program. It's similar to like a CrossFit program. It's a functional fitness program within a gym company called One Life Fitness. I think they're all over the East Coast. There's like 71 Lifes, but I'm the director and coach of this program, and it's my program. Like I said, I have over 150 clients in person, not online, and I have a clothing line a brand as well that I work on. That's my baby. So with my personal training programs, my sobriety, like I said, I'm an open book. All I can do is share my story and hope others can get as much out of it as they can. But I enjoy actually all aspects of this entire fitness realm. Like I love making content. I love I'm very competitive as far as being the best, pushing people around me, seeing other people push themselves. It's a different feeling that I mean, I knew how it felt getting out and hitting the gym, working in a restaurant, bartending, and getting off work late at night and going to the gym because I'm chasing sobriety. I'm chasing that stimulation that's going to replace me from going back to drugs and alcohol and the streets. So I know what it feels like to need fitness in order to function properly. So that's what I push on other people.
Fitness, taking care of your physical health, which is good for your mental health.
Sober Strong apparel isn't just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. We rep sobriety like a badge of honor, and every piece you throw on says you're part of the crew that doesn't back down. Every order fuels recovery with 10% donated to treatment facilities. Hit SoberStrongApparel.com and use code ROCKBOTTOM at checkout for 10% off. Stay sober, stay true, rep the crew.
I assume so. I mean, I like to work out too. I go through some phases where like I slow down a little bit, but when I'm into fitness on a everyday basis, I feel amazing. I go running after I lift, and it's just like I get that runner's high, and I'm just kind of like, this is better than any drug I ever did, you know?
Yeah, and the good thing about like being sober and what fitness does is for your mental health. Of course, it makes things a lot better as far as physical health, but mental health, people can still have issues, of course, right? But it can only help those things. As far as sobriety makes you clear headed. If I wasn't sober, I don't know if I would be able to put as much effort into my physical health or have a clear head to focus on. Definitely wouldn't be able to pump out 3, 4 videos a day. Probably wouldn't have the motivation to do it. Wouldn't have a clothing line, a business that I'm growing on the side. Probably would have zero interest on doing any type of podcast and talking like this. So it helps you as far as energy levels, clear focus, clear-headed focus. It's going to make you look better, which is going to boost your confidence. It's going to help with anxiety. You know what I mean? Help you
Yeah.
sleep better at night. There's so many different factors as far as how everything's tied together.
So many rewards. Yeah, I
There's a
agree.
lot
I
of
mean,
rewards.
and
Exactly.
you mentioned the confidence thing. I just noticed like my confidence, it's gotten so much better with sobriety. Like I thought I was just confident, man, when I was doing lines of cocaine every night and stuff and talking, trying to be the life of the party. But like that was all false. But like the longer I've been sober, the more I realized I have more of a natural confidence. And then when I mix a little working out in there and I'm like, okay, now I feel like I'm pumped. I look better, it's like, how can you not start to like think highly of yourself, and then
Exactly.
not, and it's good to have that whole be confident, not cocky and all that. But it's like, I try to just, stay humble and just keep, show people that mainly is just about working on yourself, not just physically, but mentally as well. And it all goes hand in hand, it's like, I, it seems like almost feels like you have more than 24 hours in a day because all the stuff you just mentioned, I'm like, how the heck does he do that? And post content and make videos and all that stuff. I'm like, it's a pretty impressive how
I'm
much.
hooked on it, bro. Like, yeah, I'm hooked on it. So, like, if people ask me, like, how do you, and it's like, well, first of all, I'm not playing video games. I'm not watching Netflix. So there's that. I mean, when I finish my classes, I have a good setup where I live right next to my gym. So I'm kind of back and forth. Like, I'm doing it in a way where I can maximize as much time as possible. Like, my brand is in my spare bedroom at the moment. It's getting to the point where I could probably get my own space for it here soon. But I bought a extra apartment with an extra bedroom just for my clothing line. And everything in my life is just hand in hand. I make a lot of my content in my gym. You know what I mean? So like it's all
They're all associated with each other.
yeah.
So it doesn't feel like you're having to like space out things. It's like, oh, I'm going to the gym, I'm working out, I can shoot up some content. And yeah,
And I can walk 30 feet to my apartment and edit the video, and then I can go back to class, and then I can You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, shit gets hectic. Shit is not it's not easy. It's never gonna be easy. I just can handle the stress and I can handle it more. And you know what I mean? Like I'm and it's not for everybody, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like this life, it's like
In
not
your
everybody.
in your sobriety, have you suffered any, when you talk about stress, any moments where you felt of weakness, where you're like considered, hey, I'm might go back, or I might do this, or I might fall off? Any moments that happened?
Bro, to be honest, no, because I made my mind was made up that that was not ever going to be an option. And having a drink is so like I became obsessed with growing, right? I became obsessed with seeing growth in all ways, whether it's in business and fitness, and like I constantly, I need to see that in all areas. And so me getting stressed and being like, oh my god, this is so much. Me going, fuck it, I'm just gonna have a drink. I'm gonna go, I'm just gonna let loose. Is I know that that would do zero because all that's gonna do is stress me out more. Unless I decide to give up after that and be like, I'm done with everything. Fuck it. My brain's not going to allow that though. And I know that if I have a drink and ignore my responsibilities, it's just going to lead to more stress. I'm already looped in. It's already in effect. So there's nothing that can ease my mind except doing what I need to do, which every day the tasks don't get smaller. I just keep on adding more and more. But it's okay because I'm really liking the rewards that come with growth. You know what I mean? So I just try to get as much sleep. You know what I mean? I know little things about my body. I get more sleep at night. When I sleep more, I'm better. I can do everything. I'm Superman when I get enough sleep.
Do you
When I
have
don't get
a
enough
certain
sleep,
amount of hours you have to sleep every night?
6.5, I'm good. Of
Okay.
course, I'd like to get more, but I rarely get more than 7.5. Maybe I got 6.5 last night. I feel good. Less than 5.5, it's a little rough. Drinking a lot of coffee and energy drinks. So, um, but 6 to 7, I'm solid. It's about what I need.
Yeah, same. Sleep is important to me too. I mean, I have to take a sleep med to fall asleep at night because I used to be so restless and an insomniac my entire life. So I finally found a sleep med that knocks me out. But I mean, when I wake up, I'm ready to go. So,
Yeah.
so your life's all about routine, then I take it. So like same time every day, you're in the gym. Same, you try to kind of make it so you post a certain amount of content on a regular basis, like one per day or two per day or something.
So if we're talking weekdays, my morning classes start Monday and Friday at 6 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's at 5 a.m. I'm up at either 5. I give myself 40 minutes to wake up. I'm up at 5:20 Monday and Friday, and I'm up at 4:20 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Classes, I have a few morning classes, and then I have a little bit of I have a break. So as a trainer in my classes, I have morning classes and evening classes. So I have a gap in the middle of the day, which is where I do my orders for my brand, do content, and do anything I need to do in the middle of the day. So maybe from 9, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that. And then my classes again start 4 to 7. And
So you
then
get a
after that,
workout while you're doing the classes, I assume.
I work out with my classes a lot now because I'm so busy. Every now and then, if I'm like, no, I want a good pump, right? My classes are all functional fitness. So it's
Yeah.
all free weights, cardio, body weight stuff. There's no machines. I don't do machines in my classes. So if I'm like, now I want a really good pump, I'll come in a little bit early before my classes, maybe at 2:30 and do some of that before my classes start. But I normally work out with my classes.
And
They
you're always
love when,
using free weights, it looks like. Is that
yeah, yeah. They love when I hop in with them. So it helps me maximize my time better when I can do that. I can focus on my content and um my brand when I'm not, but I work out 7 days a week, so on the weekends I still train as well when I'm not in classes. Not
awesome?
today. Saturday I work out with my class this morning and then now I'm done for the day. Saturday's like I look at like a 40-minute workout as like a rest day kind of.
Yeah.
Just some days I'm literally working out with 3 different classes and it's my body needs some type of rest sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's great. So how do you feel like you always had these leadership skills? I mean, just like running a business, teaching classes and stuff. Do those stem from childhood, or is that something you developed in recovery?
I would say so, man. I would say that childhood I was definitely a leader in the as a kid in the community. Like I was always somebody who was organizing all the childhood events and like somebody who was I was always one of the best ones on the sports teams. My leadership went away as I started getting in trouble, right? Early on, but I was where I might have made up for that was I was one of the worst. And I was somebody that might have been a little feared in that way that I was so crazy. Maybe so if we're talking like different leadership things in different ways, I always made sure I was never like, there was always ego. So ego would never allow me to just be like the
An
guy who never,
underling or something, or
yeah, then the guy
follower.
who never spoke. You're right. I was
Yeah,
always leading in some way, whether it was the wrong way or the right way. And like, I was never somebody that could just sit back and wait for instructions. So maybe that's really what it, you know what I mean? So, and then as I got older, like I said, I was always the first one to make a move for everything. Yo, we're doing this. We got to do this. Now I'm starting events and now I'm, the head coach or, so just being someone that likes to make moves, I think
exactly.
is when you're a move maker, that kind of makes you a leader. And then of course you adapt different qualities as you go on. You realize how you have to handle people. Of course, I've trial and error, when I first started dealing with a lot of people, right, in my community, in my program, I'm in charge of a lot of personalities. So I have to bite my tongue. I have to know how to deal with men and women and put up with different attitudes. I have to work. Have to watch. Sometimes I want to say things and I know I can't say. So it's, you know,
But you have that control now. I mean, that,
I have that control. Exactly.
yeah,
I've learned how to control those things and bite my tongue when I need to and say things that I need to say when I do need to say them.
it's good. That's good. Yeah, off a couple more closing questions. Let's notice you have a lot of tattoos. I got a ton too. I'm like covered as well. Is there any ones that stand out that you can tell me like what's really important, significance behind them? I kind of like to know about reasons people got tattoos.
Yeah, well, at first it started with just wanting to be cool, of course. I'm just like, yo, I want to get tatted. I mean, that's at
Yeah.
like age 14, 15 when that started, though.
Allen Iverson is the reason I got my first tattoo. So
Really?
yeah, I literally
Why?
just was like, he looks cool with tattoos. I want to get
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I was like, yo, cool dudes get tats. I'm one of them. So, and then as having like a couple little ones, it got to the point, especially as I started going to prison, and it's like, or even being in the streets before prison, I'm like, it's actually going to look better if I just make it all one.
That's
So
what I
that
did.
was where I was at. Like, right now, if I never had tattoos, would I get tattoos? Probably not. I'd probably be like, nah, I want my abs to show more. I'll take a clean slate. I don't need them. But since at an early age I had random ones, I was older and I was like, let's make this look better and just piece it together, make it all one. So that's when got to prison, I had the time to do that.
So you tie it together with like smoke and stuff and all that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I don't even know what I got on me, to be honest. I mean, this arm was done all in prison. This is like, it's not the best work. None of my work I mean, a lot of my, I
No,
had friends do it.
I've got some
I'm not
crappy
mad.
tats from home tattoos, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I think my back piece might be my best. Let me see. My favorite. I got this done in the streets. Can you see or no?
Yeah, I just might need to lower a little bit, but yeah,
So you can see?
yeah,
But like, it's like my story. I don't know if you can see it at the top. It says misunderstood. And then it's got my family on one side. And then it's got like a prison yard and like a casino and a graveyard on one side. And it's got me at the bottom turning my back on the bad life
like
and
walking away
going,
from it.
yeah, and going towards the good life. So that might be my most, like, my favorite story. The rest, I mean, my stomach is wild animals. My
Awesome.
chest is a Bible verse, is Jesus, heaven. Always been a Christian.
Awesome. That is cool. I like them. Yeah, I'm covered up from the post sleeves and chest, and then I'm working on the stomach, and then a couple back things. But yeah, no, it's tattoos are kind of addictive, you know.
Yeah, I don't need any. I don't have anything on my legs, but maybe one day
I
when I
noticed
have
you
the
did what I
time.
did. You cut it off right here so you can wear a dress shirt, and not be
Try
noticed,
to,
right?
yeah. Now I'm like at the point where I'm like, you know what? Tattoos are so like are so accepted now. I might get something like right here soon.
Yeah,
Why not? You
yeah,
know?
exactly. No, have fun. It's I try to get them any chance I get, but yeah, a lot of mine were done while I was high. I was on drugs, and now it's like lately, over the past year, I've gotten a couple, and I'm like, it's kind of cool getting them sober, and they don't honestly don't feel that painful sober.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, but so yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And would you like to kind of just give some advice to my listeners who are sober curious in recovery, new to recovery, like some advice that you'd like to give just as far as staying motivated and what really stands out to you is what helped you stay sober?
So there's so many different things right now. Like all I can go off of is my experience. Everybody in sobriety has a different path. I've been to maybe 5 AA meetings. I didn't need that as far. I think it's important to find a community. You need support if you're going into sobriety. I will say, community. It's not all It's it can be a lonely road, but just know it's a paved one as well. So like, and what I mean by that is there can be some times where you're like, damn, I wish I could just turn up right now. But just remember that with those people that are turning up and having that great time at night, they're gonna feel like shit the next day, and you're gonna feel amazing. You might get more ahead in life financially than that person who's getting drunk every night, thinking they're having a ball, and you might be envious of them having that, having those bonds with people on those drunk party nights, and you might be jealous of that. You might, sometimes I go out and people are wild, going crazy, dancing, and it's like, damn, I wish I could be loose enough to do that. Spend enough time sober and you'll be more comfortable to be yourself in those environments. But like I said, it's not a perfect road, but it's a paved one. I think that regardless of what somebody's goals are, what they want, sobriety allows you to learn and find yourself. So that was what really allowed sobriety to do for me. That's what sobriety did for me is I was able to, I didn't know this was going to be when I was in prison, Ryan, I had no clue. You think at 27 I think I'm going to be a fitness professional? I'm going to be insta fame. I didn't think any of this shit, bro. I was in restaurants before. I was like reading books on food trucks. I'm like, man, how can I make my impact? I'm gonna get food trucks. I'm gonna learn real estate, and shit did not turn out that way at all. I have a fitness clothing line. I'm an influencer in the fitness community. I'm a sobriety advocate. Like, had zero clue this would be my life, but sobriety allowed me to find out what my calling was.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, so I didn't think that was gonna be my path at all, but being sober is gonna allow you to learn about yourself. It's gonna allow you to think clear-headed. It's gonna allow you to feel pain that you don't wanna feel, but that you need to feel. Oh, just I think that, give it a shot. See how I mean, for somebody that's thinking about taking that road, I mean, don't quit so early. Find your reason why, though. Know your reason why. If you're somebody that's just like, you drink in moderation and it's not an issue for you and you don't see a problem with it, then I would say then why be sober, to be honest. If you don't feel like you're an addict and it's not causing problems in your life, then keep doing it. Just depends on each individual person's different, I think. For those people that have those one-sided personalities though, like are all in or not, then I
Hmm.
think giving it a shot. Those are the people that do, I think, that really make an impact in this world. The
I
ones that
agree.
think like that are all in or no or not at all. So
Yeah.
if you're like that, I think you could probably do amazing things if you give it a shot.
Perfectly said. No, I appreciate it. Very powerful words. Would you like to kind of throw up your Instagram handle and like what your brand is and what it represents and all that?
Yeah, so my Instagram is KevyKev underscore KEVYKEVV. My clothing line's Instagram is incline.wear. Incline is spelled INCLYNE. I started Incline a few months after I got after I got out of prison, seeing people taking their gym clothes serious and wanting to start my own brand that maybe could make me feel accountable. I wanted to wear something that described my new lifestyle, my new transformation. And after some time, I discovered that the word incline kind of described what I was doing. And that's
And it
just
relates to lifting weights like an incline, laying back on an incline and
sure.
doing
Yeah.
bench press or something.
Yeah. There you go. It kind of goes hand in hand. But the main point of it was to find a meaning describing my lifestyle, and that's just to continue pushing forward, being better, and maneuvering through obstacles and going uphill, climbing that ladder of life. So That's where the brand came from. And check us out. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.